Hello and welcome back to the Hype Bulletin, hosted by yours truly, Ralph Mentor. We are getting so much closer to the promised land, but we got a little bit of a hiccup and all too as well. The 2023 and the 2024 Boston Celtics have clinched, making the Eastern Conference Finals for the third consecutive year, the sixth time in 8 years. This is the sixth appearance for Jaylen Brown in those 8 years, fifth appearance for Jason Tatum in 7 seasons, and three straight appearances for Derek White. And in his 3 seasons with the Celtics and all, they finished off the Cavs in 5, where the Cavs missed D. Mitch in the last 2 games and Karis LeVert for Game 5. But the Cavs showed plenty of fight. Even had me a little annoyed during Game 5. Honestly, maybe had me a little nervous. I'm not even gonna lie. Honestly, just the way they were fighting throughout the first half, thinking the Celtics were probably going to not own the game, but at least handle the game throughout the game, at least and all. Fair to the Cavaliers, the game was imbalanced throughout Game 5 and all, at least towards the end, where Al Horford exploded, had an amazing game. The only player in NBA postseason history, if I'm corrected, I'm corrected, but with 10 plus rebounds, 5 made threes, and with 3 blocks and all. And even with his shot being off in the first quarter or so, this man really turned up in the second half for sure. Honestly, hit his first three and really got going. I believe there was a drive to the basket he had that really, I think, settled him down, because his shot was not looking good throughout the series, where the Cleveland Cavaliers had him in rotation and really had him taking advantage. D. Mitchell, Darius Garland, and even Karis LeVert at certain times, especially in Game 4, if I remember correctly, if not Game 3, one of them home games for Cleveland at least and all, really took advantage of Al Horford in the switching package at least and all. But really persevered in Game 5, honestly, especially offensively, and had himself some big plays. An out-of-bounds play, I believe, hitting off of Dean Wade too as well and all. Just huge and all. So shout out to Al Horford for his Game 5 performance, honestly, and helping with the Celtics clinching. And again, Jason Tatum with another solid game, had a 25-10-9 game, 1 assist side of a triple-double too as well. Had a very consistent playoffs in my opinion, honestly. And when you with certain teams being eliminated, you can argue now, well, not with Jalen Brunson and Edwards, and we'll get into them because they're still going at least, but you can argue that Jason Tatum has been the best player in the playoffs. I get the opponent, the easy path type situation and all, but I think he's averaged 26 points. I believe he's right there with 10, if not 9 rebounds a game. He's averaged more than 5 assists in these games too as well, with a couple blocks and I think a steal too as well, averaging in these playoffs and all. So I think he's had an all-around great playoffs, honestly. It is great playoffs. His shot hasn't been there, so that's why you haven't seen an exploding 40-point game or an efficient 12 out of 16 field goal attempts to shot ratio, or even like a 17-19, because he'll take 19 to 22 shots a game at least and start swinging the ball around. So I think he's been playing well. When you listen to the national media, which I've been ignoring, I'm not gonna lie. If it ain't for Locked On Celtics, I really ain't listening to any type of analysis about Boston, honestly. For any other team, sure, but when it comes to analysis, national perspective, and what the Celtics need to do and all that, like I said in my trailer episode when Charles Barkley said it, it's a gag job if the Celtics don't win a championship. Honestly, that's basically what you're hearing now. Even Tim Legler, one of my favorite analysts on ESPN and all, even he's transitioned and all, and I can't blame him from all the world spin that's around him at least and all. And to be fair, the C's have won these 2 series easily too as well. You have to give them credit. You got people saying bad habits and all too as well. I won't even mention who says things like bad habits and all, but they say things like bad habits. I would think, if the Celtics teams had bad habits without Kristaps Porzingis, mind you, but if they had these bad habits, Chicago, it felt like it, but this Miami series and this Cleveland series would have gone longer than 5 games in my opinion too as well, where you have the Celtics win, having I believe their net rating is over 10, if not closer to 11, if not closer to 12, but I believe it's an 11, like an 11 and change type of situation, plus 11 situation with their differential in their net rating with these wins that they've had, honestly. So you look at 2 outliers, honestly, and their 2 losses with the Miami Heat hitting 23 franchise 23 3-pointers in the playoff game, franchise ever, record, honestly. And you have Evan Mobley having a career night too as well in Game 2. You can also throw in the third quarter, where the Cleveland Cavaliers, I believe, hit 16. I don't know. I don't think it's 16 threes. That's a crazy number. But they hit in a crazy abundance of threes. I would say 10 to 11. While the Celtics, I think, only hit like 2, if not 3 of them, and all 2 as well. So it was an exorbitant difference in that in that third quarter, honestly, that led and I'm gonna give Ed Mobley his credit too as well. He had a career night, honestly. Showed out, honestly, even again in Game 5, where he dropped 30 points, honestly, too as well. So when people want to say, the naysayers want to say like, oh, the Celtics beat the Cavaliers with nobody playing, Evan Mobley dropped 35. It's not like they're gonna have two 35-point or two 30-point performances in that game too as well. Somebody from Cleveland was going to drop 30, and the surprising guy was obviously Evan Mobley, honestly. But still, if Donovan Mitchell was in, he's dropping 30. But who else is dropping 30? No one else is dropping 30. You're hoping the supplemental parts do what they're supposed to in order to win the basketball game. And that only happened once. Again, it only happened once again in Game 2 when Donovan Mitchell probably had 27, 30 points in that game, and then Evan Mobley having his career night too as well. I think with 21, 22 points and all. That was going to happen. Evan Mobley was able to give you a 30-point game. They still had guys like Darius Garland out there to give you 20 points and all. But shout out to Drew Holiday and his defense, honestly. People come at him for his Donovan Mitchell defense, but you're not stopping Donovan Mitchell. No one's expecting to stop Donovan Mitchell. Orlando Magic had a top-end defense, and they still couldn't stop Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell, as a rookie, has been putting up points in postseasons and all. So to sit there and expect Drew Holiday to be doing that is a surprise. Can he keep Darius Garland shut and quiet? And he definitely did. The combination of him and Derek White, honestly. But I saw a great defense on Drew Holiday Game 4 against Darius Garland, honestly. Let loose a little bit in the back end of the game, at least, and all. Pause, no diddy. But definitely short him up in most of the season, especially in the first half of Game 4, in my opinion. And he was dropping, I believe he had back-to-back 15-point games too as well and all. So big shout out to the C's, man. Dominant performance. If you expected to sweep them, I'm sorry that they're not perfect, that they can't do things perfectly, at least and all. But they've shown dominance. They've shown turned up defense. They've shown turned up offense too as well. They've shown. And the one thing that the C's don't get credit, what they were getting knocked for throughout the whole regular season, can they win games without the three-pointer? They've won games continuously without the three-pointer, from what I've seen. Clutch three-pointing, sure. But these outlier games where they're having 18 to 23 three-pointers in the game, honestly, I believe it's only been Game 1 of the Miami series where they've had a exorbitant amount of threes and hitting threes and all. They haven't shown that at all for the rest of the series, for the rest of the postseason, honestly. They've easily won games by living in the paint and by not relying on the three. And I'll give JB Bickerstaff credit, at least and all. I think he schemed for the C's to go to live in the paint more than live at the 3-point line, because if they're making their threes, most teams probably don't have a chance of competing with them, honestly. So again, a shout out to the dominant performance. Again, another 6 to 7 day rest while they're waiting for the other bracket to finish out and all. So now we'll talk about the other series in the NBA. No, I'm leaving my Boston Celtics at the 8-minute mark. And that's not too bad, because these other series and these playoffs right now have been extraordinary and all. So we'll talk about the other side of the East with the Pacers and Knicks and all too as well. And I am nervous. For my Knicks and Celtics dream series, honestly, too as well. You have Josh Hart dealing with an abdominal strain. You can see him wincing at his stomach throughout Game 6, honestly. And you're just worried about the legs and the injuries, honestly, too, as well. There is a good sign of OG Anunoby showing up for Game 7, honestly. I'm not, with the way that, in certain basketball situations, I wouldn't be a big proponent of it, a guy coming out of nowhere, but with the Knicks and the way they've played, with guys stepping up, you have to give credit to Burks, you have to give credit to even Deuce McBride, honestly. They've shown out and have some performances, honestly. You can argue Deuce McBride was the reason why they won Game 5 in New York the way they won Game 5 in New York, with his 17 points and his, I believe, hitting 5 3-pointers or some ish like that, honestly. So, in certain situations where a player coming in through injury and all, I'd be a little nah about it. But with the Knicks and the way, even though Tibbs overplays his players, it's not hard for these players to find a rhythm because they're playing so much. They get the requisite reps, you know what I mean, to be playing this much and to being effective too as well, honestly. So as much as I'm worried about their injury situation, I do like the way they step up. They do respond. They're going to be at home, where we've looked, besides it looks like the Miami Heat I'm giving credit to. But you look at over the past 2 postseasons, you eliminate the Miami Heat. No one's been able to handle MSG. Maybe Tyrese Maxey in his moment, at least. No, you can give Philly some love there too as well. But there are some games they left there too as well, and you have to give the crowd at MSG credit. So that's another advantage that New York has. But the reason why I'm really nervous is the way Indy can play offense, honestly. They just need one good game in New York, and they haven't gotten it yet. The first two games, they were pretty damn close to it, and they let loose in Game 5, honestly. Rick Carlisle has definitely, I think, has pushed the right buttons, honestly, and we saw it in Game 6 of them rebounding the ball and showing extra effort, at least in all two as well. I really think they can bring this to MSG, honestly. They have an all-star caliber player in Tyrese Halliburton, the champion, and Pascal Siakam too as well. Miles Turner has shown out in this series too as well, especially in the games that they've won and won convincingly, shown out big time with dunks and threes too as well. And TJ McConnell, who I thought was just an outlier in Game 6 against Milwaukee, is definitely keeping this going right now against the New York Knicks and all. So I just think they're bred perfectly to win this game. Last time the Knicks had a Game 7 at home was against these Indiana Pacers and Reggie Miller, honestly, and Halliburton with his slim and slender body type, at least, and all, and though in his high arcing shot a little bit, even though it's not as quick as Reggie's, does give me Reggie Miller vibes, honestly. When his shot's going, and I think he's gonna live for a moment like this too as well. So before the series, I had Knicks winning in 7. I'm very confident, just the way the Indies been playing, their rotation, honestly. I'm confident they're winning this game today. We're recording on Sunday, May 19th and all. So the game will be later on today at 3:30 and all. But I'm very confident Indies winning this game, honestly. If it wasn't for the coaching of Rick Carlisle, I think they're done already too as well. And he showed that in Game 5. After Game 5, the post-game press conference in Game 5, and I believe at either their morning or afternoon shoot around or practice before Game 6 and all, about being on these players, about showing that effort and how embarrassing it was how they played in Game 5 in New York, honestly. I just trust his coaching. He matches Tibbs' coaching, his moxie too as well. And mind you, both guys have a ring too as well. Tibbs as an assistant and Rick Carlisle as a coach in 2011, and with the Dallas Mavericks, honestly, I believe. And also, I do trust his moxie. I trust the depth of this team. I trust the offensive capability this team has besides just their star player. I'm kind of worried about New York and just their tired legs, honestly. I do expect them to respond. There's going to be no type of blowout or anything like that. But I just trust what Indy has a little bit more outside, more than New York. And that's why I think the Mavs go on to this next series and out West. I think that's why the Mavs won, because that other series in the West deserves the last praise, honestly. Even deserves more praise than the Celtics series, honestly. Their postseason, at least, because that's just a great finals caliber series we have in the other side of the bracket in the West. But with this side in the West, and how I brought up the point about what Indy has surrounding their star, and compared to the Knicks, and all, I just think that's why the Mavs won their series in a close Game 6, mind you, too, as well. As much as I thought Mavs were going to win that game and all, my pick was looking a little nervous, honestly, the way the Thunder started out and the way they were hitting threes in the first half, honestly. But that's something I didn't trust about OKC moving forward in that second half. Can these guys really keep that up, honestly? Shea's going to be there, and Shea kept them in there, honestly. Unfortunately, he fouled P.J. Washington. I think it's just unfortunate, honestly, because he had the ball first and all. He just wasn't able to get a grip on the ball to force a jump ball, at least, and all. He glided off the ball. P.J. Washington still was in the shooting motion. He hit his arm, honestly. So unfortunately, it is a foul and all. And I'm happy he called it out for what it is. It's a foul in his post-game press conference. That's a foul, that I fouled him and all. And I just got to live with it and all. I never should have fouled. I appreciate that more than saying that, it wasn't a foul and making an excuse that the ref made a bad call and all. That's why I appreciate Shea, and that's why I appreciate his game, honestly, too, as well. But I just was worried about the other guys around him, honestly. Jay Williams, was his first year of really being like a legitimate all-star, honestly. And it was hard for me to think that he was going to keep that uptick in the postseason with not just better competition, which is consistent competition and higher intensity, at least, and all, too, as well. I was just worried he can keep that up, honestly. He had moments, for sure, but he didn't. He just didn't give you a full game, unfortunately, or a full game in Game 6. Because he gave you the full games in this series, honestly, for where it led OKC for a win. But then just in this one, just didn't lead you enough, honestly. Kyrie Irving, slow start, honestly, but showed out. P.J. Washington, foul trouble to start, showed out, though. Daniel Gafford, again, showed out. Derek Lively, again, showed out. There's just those other pieces in certain impact situations. It doesn't have to be just scoring. With rebounds, defense. PJ and Derek Jones, too, as well. Had some big-ass shots, mind you. Another guy I'm sleeping on. And Derek Jones and PJ Washington's defense on Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was tremendous too as well. Honestly, really taking away his midway shot and making him spin around and looking for an outlet. Honestly, with a teammate and all, I just thought that was huge. Honestly, for Dallas to have those other guys. I'm not sure about. I feel like I knew the Maxi Kleber injury wouldn't hurt him in this series. The next series, whoever it is, may hurt them a little bit, so it may hurt their chances. But if it's one team that comes out of that other side of the West, I'll give Dallas a chance of going to the finals, honestly. But if it's another team, I think they have no chance, honestly, because that is the best player in the world, honestly. So let's get into it with the T-Wolves and the Denver Nuggets, honestly. The creme de la creme is giving you a creme de la creme and a Game 7, honestly. You're at 8 o'clock today on Sunday, the 19th of May. You're gonna have Denver at home versus the T-Wolves, and in a go win or what is it? Go win or go home scenario, where the T-Wolves will be facing it. Like I said, just probably said, yeah, I'm reiterating because I'm that excited about this series, where the T-Wolves will be facing the Denver Nuggets at Denver and all. T-Wolves are coming off a huge Game 6 win, honestly, where you had Anthony Edwards had a hot start, dropped 27 points and all, but other players showed out, honestly. Jaden McDaniels, I think he dropped 21 points. I think it was 17. I'm not looking at the stats directly, so it's all memory right now. So I'm watching these games in live time at least and all. But he had a huge game offensively and defensively. Karl Anthony Towns showed out big time, honestly, too, as well. And the return of Mike Conley definitely helped. And to Ant's point in his post game press conference, how getting double, or at least I think he did bring it up. How Mike Conley was huge. Someone asked him what was the big difference for this win, Mike Conley, because Denver was beginning the double team in Game 5 against Denver, honestly, and Edwards didn't really have an outlet for it, honestly, because Mike Conley is their best guard. Even though Ant Edwards, Mike Conley is their best guard because he can just get other guys going. Even though Ant Edwards can do that, Mike Conley just does it at a better rate, honestly, because he's just a point guard, honestly. But the return of Mike Conley was huge, honestly. He was able to give up the ball a little bit more easier, honestly. They couldn't get off. They couldn't really double team Ant Edwards with whoever was guarding Mike Conley, at least and all, because that was going to hurt him big time, honestly. He hit some big threes, made some big plays, honestly. And even Naz Reid showed out too as well. So just a full team effort from Minnesota, which I kind of expected, honestly. This from guys like Draymond Green, I get they got basketball experience and all, 4-time champion, can say whatever they want to say, honestly. But just thought it was crazy for him to say that things are over for Minnesota, honestly. A team, even though OKC was the 1 seed for the West, most of the season, it was the Minnesota Timberwolves that were the 1 seed of the West, especially in the first half of the year, honestly. You think a team like that's been through all that, and then they lost their second best player in the second half of the year, honestly, still kept the top 3 seed. You can argue if Cat was healthy, they're the 1 seed right now. But he was hurt. They kept the top 3 seed throughout the whole year, top 2 seed, honestly, until towards the end of the year where they lost certain games, honestly, and lost the 2 seed to Denver, and they would end up being the 3 seed. But a team like that is honestly just going to give up and say things are over after just being down 3-2 to the best player in the league, honestly, after his 40-point performance in Game 5, ladies and gentlemen. No, I did not believe that at all. He looked like a fool, and I appreciate people calling him out for his foolness too as well, honestly, not to give up. That Minnesota was not just going to give up like that, especially not winning a home game in that series too as well. They had a reason to come in and fight into that game, Game 6 against Denver, honestly, and they surely did. They showed out big time, honestly. Played great defense on Jamal Murray, honestly. He's gonna say, and I can believe that the elbow was part of the reason why he didn't play well. But I just think that defense turned up, and once they were getting going offensively, there was no going back, honestly, for Denver in that game. It was shocking that that lead really did get up to 50, honestly. But that's how bad Minnesota wanted it. I wouldn't have any type of what's it called there? Any what's the word? I want to pick the right word, honestly, but I wouldn't have any worries, honestly, for Denver, honestly. I just think it was a bad game. Minnesota really needed it. That's the example of desperation basketball, honestly, and that's how they played, honestly. No stops, kept playing fast too as well and all, even to a pace that Denver usually appreciates too as well, because they can play a little bit fast too as well, but with their defense intensity, honestly. And I feel like Denver kind of left what was working for them, with the pick and roll being at the wings. I feel like they kind of, after a game like that, in Game 5 where Jokic is killing it, you can see why they got a little cocky and started putting that pick and roll back in the middle, honestly. So I saw a few too many baskets, or at least shots attempted for Jamal Murray in the middle when he was really getting going in those games 3, 4, and 5. at the wings at least and all. So I just think they kind of lost their grip a little bit, which you can understand after performance in Game 5 in Denver by Joker dropping 40 points like that. I do think he had a turnover though. I do think Neil Alexander Walker got a turnover on him, but that's just one turnover with 40 points. And I think he had like 13 rebounds and or 16 rebounds and 13 assists, some crazy ass number like that. So even mind you, with the one turnover, at least had a great game honestly. So after a game like that, I can understand why Denver, to a degree, lost their discipline and went back to what was not working for them in games 1 and 2. Thought they can maybe get away with it in game 6. Learned big time you can't get away with it, and hopefully, and they should go back to that. Even seeing again Aaron Gordon taking the ball up the court and not having Jamal Murray bringing up the court and playing being guarded 94 feet at least and all. So definitely looking forward to this game. Honestly, I'm going before the series started again, like the Knicks series. I picked Denver before, but I changed up with Minnesota because that's how impressed I was and how they swept Phoenix. Honestly, Phoenix was not a real basketball team, and the fact that they thoroughly dominated like that is a good sign for their development moving forward and facing the best player in the league, honestly, too, as well. And a team that gave this team some trouble, honestly, even without Cat. I had a weird glitch there, so it's going to be a little weird thing after I said that with Cat and all. But even the team that didn't have Cat playing, and they still came back down 16 in the fourth quarter and gave them I think either won or barely lost that game against Denver, honestly, throughout the regular season without Cat. I think Minnesota's in a prime position to win this basketball game. It's just Cat needs to show up, like Ant says. They have a foul trouble. Ant giving you a game. And there's some familiar players, especially in the corner with Jaden McDaniels and Neil Alexander Walker hitting those shots, honestly. I believe Mike Conley can hit those shots. It's those two. Can they show up and hit some shots, honestly? I'm just worried about the lack of depth after Murray and Jokic, honestly, of showing up. I think besides one game, Aaron Gordon has been okay in this series. Michael Porter has been missing a bit in this series too as well. And Justin Holiday off the bench. Justin Holiday off the bench, honestly. Reggie Jackson off the bench for Denver, where I'm looking at Naz Reid, the 6th man of the year, honestly, and Neil Alexander Walker, who's at least going to guard Jamal Murray 94 feet if he can't give you anything offensively. I just like what Minnesota has cooking right now, honestly, for them. But to my Dallas point, if one of these teams they can go to the NBA Finals and the other team they can't, and yes, the best player, if they're facing Denver, I don't think Dallas can win that series. But if it's Minnesota, I really do think Dallas is winning that series, honestly. But that's getting my head of myself. I wanted to let's enjoy this ride into this game, honestly, because I think this game is going to give you the type of fireworks that the Pacers and the Knicks is possibly going to give you too as well in this Game 7, honestly. So we have a day of Game 7s here on Sunday for the NBA, honestly. Wanted to record just in time for it too as well, because it looks like this will be part 3. This will be the last part of the second round in the NBA playoffs here on the Hype Bulletin, at least not too as well. So here we go. Can't wait. Boston Celtics are 4 wins away from the NBA Finals. Not looking too much of a what's it called, nonsense occur. Not trying to diss any my man nonsense on Twitter at least, no, but not bringing any nonsense at least enough from the trailers from earlier this year to where we are right now. The Boston Celtics do have a legitimate chance. Now people are saying the legitimate chance is too easy, but last I checked with previous champions and all too as well, there's something I wanted to bring up before I leave today about the easiest path for the Boston Celtics, and it's not like champions in the past have been dealt with teams without a star player and all. If you want me to bring it back, let's bring it back, then. Because last year with the Denver Nuggets facing the Minnesota Timberwolves with players not making a big deal about from why they may win Game 7, did not play in their series last year, and Jaden McDaniels and Naz Reid and all. That's in one team, and then with the Lake, and then with the point with the Denver Nuggets facing 2 play-in teams too as well on their way to a championship and all, and I don't hear anything about that after them winning. And 22, this is 23 champion, the 22 champion with the Golden State Warriors faced Murray-less Denver Nuggets and swept them at least and all. In an interesting series against the Memphis Grizzlies in round 2, John Morant gets hurt. I think it was some type of shoulder or back injury and all too as well. Did not play the rest of that series too as well, and lost one of those games without John Morant. Got spanked on the road at Memphis and all. They just had it was like a 3-1 lead, so they didn't mind. I'm pretty sure they didn't mind Miami with losing that game, and they went out and took care of them in Game 6 at least and all. But another champion without with injury, with a team with injury concerns too as well and all. Who won in 21? Oh, 21, the Milwaukee Bucks. Do we all remember what round 2 was with the Brooklyn Nets and their injury shit with James Harden and his hamstring, and unfortunately Kyrie Irving with his ankle and all too as well. Another champion. Again, blessed with the other teams not having injuries and all, but that's all you hear about the Boston Celtics and all. They play with their food, but they win both series in 5 and lose one game and all too as well. Not pushing an extra game like last year against Atlanta when you should have won Game 5, or people saying you should have won Game 5, extended to Game 6. And the same thing with the Philadelphia series, you never should have lost Game 1. And the same thing with the Miami Heat series and losing the first 3 games and all too as well. The C's turning it around and beating teams that are better than them. And with the Miami Heat series, when I'll bring up to as well, that team, a Celtics team, is clearly better than Miami. And Miami was up 3-0 and all. Now we're looking at this season. 2 teams that the Celtics are clearly better than, and they put a stranglehold on both of those series too as well. Lost Game 2s, outliers, but look what they did at 3, 4, and 5. Look what they did in Games 3, 4, and 5. I have a facial expression, unfortunately. I'm on audio and all, but come on now. Can we stop this? But we made it to the 25-minute mark. Mind my there's some type of little skippage there too as well. Playing around with the USB cord on the mic and all, so I lost audio for a second. So it'll be a little skippage in my little Minnesota and Denver analysis. But Boston Celtics are in the Eastern Conference Finals, 4 wins away from the NBA Finals. We're sitting here waiting for the winner of the New York Knicks and Indiana Pacers series, which we will find out by the end of today, at least and all, or even by this evening, at least and all, with the game starting at 3:30 and all. So this will be the last. Again, just reiterating, this will be the last part of round 2 here on the Hype Bulletin. Honestly, next episode will be a preview of the conference finals on both sides. Honestly, with the winner with Dallas winning the one side of the bracket in the Western Conference. Again at 8 o'clock, we'll have Minnesota and Denver playing for the right to be facing Dallas in the conference finals. Honestly, either of those teams will have home court advantage in those scenarios, since Dallas is the 5th seed, I believe, and all, and Denver's the 2 and Minnesota's the 3. But I'm going long. I'm at my 26-minute mark, which I like getting to. Honestly, I appreciate you guys listening. We'll be back soon.